Hi everybody, this week's lesson is about homographs. Does that look a little bit familiar? You might remember that last week, the previous lesson was homophone. Now we have homograph. So the difference is that second part of the word, and that's what we're going to focus on in a tip that I have for you to help you remember what they are. If you have not seen the video, the mini lesson about homophones, I encourage you to either scroll up in this chat to find it and watch that, either before or after this one, or ask your teacher, if you're watching this at a later time, ask your teacher to help you find the link to that video, because they are similar, but also very different. Homograph, think of the word graph here. Let's focus on this. Think of graph like to graph something, to write something. So we're going to be talking about words that are spelled or look or are written the same, but the sound and the meaning are different. So this is almost opposite, I would say, to the homophone. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on homographs today. So words that look exactly the same spelling, it's the same word, but the sound or the pronunciation can be different. Let's say two different pronunciations, and therefore two different meanings. So let's do one example. When you see this word, how did you say it? How did you read it in your head? Did you say live? Or did you say live? Long I, this is the symbol for long I, live, you hear the long I, or live, live. Let's talk about what each of these mean. Live, so pronounced this way, live, is an adjective or adverb describing how something is done, and in this case, it means to be done right now. It's happening right now, currently, it's live. Live, you're probably more familiar with this word, I would say, to live. It's a verb. So let's do an example. The band performs live on Fridays. The news broadcast is live on TV right now. It's live. It's happening right now. Live. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I live in a White House. So in that sentence, live is the verb, to live. And we change it with I and say I live. Okay? Let's do an example and see if you know which one to pick. Let me mix them up. Okay. I want to live or live at the beach because it's warm and sunny. He plays the guitar at live or live shows every weekend. What do you think? I want to at the beach because it's warm. He plays the guitar at shows every weekend. If you got it correct, you should have been thinking or saying, I want to live at the beach, verb. He plays at live shows. Live describes the shows. They are live. They happen right then. They're not recorded. He's playing for people. He's in person with people playing live. Let's do another example. Okay, on this one, how did you read it or say it or speak it or think it in your head? Did you say close with an S sound, close? Or did you say close with a Z sound, close? All right, let's look at an example of each. I keep my daughter close to me when we go to the store. Close. Please close the door. Close the door. Close here with the S sound. Adjective or adverb, describing, being in relationship, describing near in space or time. Close is a verb. It's the opposite of open. Close means to shut. Or stop, you could say to stop it. We close registration at 9 o'clock, means we finish. Okay, but it's a verb either way with this pronunciation. So let's do a couple of examples and have you guess on your own. I live to my parents. I live close or I live close. Close. Adjective, telling us near in space, near in the neighborhood, near in location. Close. Where's my next example? She didn't the fridge, so now everything's getting warm. She didn't close the fridge. She didn't close the fridge. As you're learning, you can think about parts of speech in your sentence. We know we need a verb, right? And we just learned that close is the verb. This is the adjective. She didn't close. She did not shut. She left it open and now everything is getting warm. Okay? How did you do? The same thing we talked about with homophones and at the beginning of this video, I would encourage you to do with homographs as well. These might be trickier for some than the homophone, because the homophone, they sound the same, but when we see them written, we know that they are different. With these, you will hear the difference. But if you're practicing written vocabulary or reading vocabulary, you're gonna come across these two words, or you're just gonna see one and have to decide how it is pronounced. So, same thing, I would look at these like vocabulary. I would make notes however you do or however you study or memorize pronunciation. And then again, it's practicing and looking at the rest of the context of just the sentence. If you're practicing vocabulary, say in Burlington, what's the rest of the sentence say? If you are hearing people speak or you are speaking, they're talking about close the door. We know that's a verb, and you see someone close the door. You know that it's a Z sound, even though we write it with an S. So those are all good points while you're practicing. Do you know any homographs already? I'm curious. I don't know if you knew any homophones before we did this mini lesson, or if you learned that term, or if you had ever noticed words that sounded the same but looked different. So I'm curious if you have ever seen a word that maybe even in the same paragraph, you see close and close, or live and live in the same story on the same page, or other words. Do you know any other words? Post some comments below if you know any homographs, or if you have questions, of course. Give us a thumbs up, and like I said before, if you want to see that homophone video, scroll up or ask your teacher and we can send you the link. Good luck.